5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? This is the Tony C Show, where I talk about this, that, the other thing, what have yous, and what nots. Totally random shit. This is show number 1, called That Awkward Moment. True story? That's for you to decide. So I'm at a bar with some friends. I end up meeting this girl. We're talking it up. I'm sending out the vibe. I got no game, so I'm already pretty psyched that she's digging it. After a while, it's like midway through the night. She asks me if I want to get out of there. I said, yes. So she jumped on her phone. She called an Uber. I don't know how that works. I'm still way behind on all the Uber technologies and all this stuff. I'll probably finally start using Uber when they have like driverless cars and all that kind of shit. I'm always behind on technologies. Anyway, so we jump in the Uber. She already had given some address. So I figured, cool, going back to her house, I'm assuming. About 10 minutes away, we pull up to this house, walk up, doesn't pull out any keys, nothing. She just walks right into the front door. All right. We walk in. Turns out there's a party going on in this house. Not like an out of control kind of party, but more like looks like mid-30s, very controlled. Music's on, not too loud, still be able to talk to someone standing in front of you without having to scream. It's a pretty civilized, mature kind of party. Decent amount of people there, though. So we literally just stepped into the front door. To our left, there's a big dining room with a bunch of people sitting around a table playing drinking games. To my right is a living room with a bunch of different groups of people, cliques kind of hanging out, having conversations. Straight in front of us is a hallway. She turns to me and says, I have to use the ladies' room. I'll come find you. And disappears down the hallway. So now I'm standing alone here in this house party. Don't know anybody. Kind of awkward. But I'm pretty outgoing, so I figure let me walk around, see if I can meet some peeps. So I head into the living room. My plan of attack here is I figure if I can make eye contact with somebody, then maybe I could just spark up some conversation, walk over, introduce myself, blah, blah, blah. So I'm walking through the living room. Nobody even looks up. Everybody's engulfed into their own conversations and whatnot. So across the living room on the other side, I see a kitchen. Kitchen's smaller than the living room, about half the size, and there's a few people in there. I figured that'd be perfect. I can walk in. Usually when someone walks into a smaller room, everybody turns to see who it is, and that'd be a perfect opportunity to say hello and introduce myself. So I walk across the living room. I'm about 2 feet away from the kitchen when I suddenly realize that I completely forgot the name of the girl who I came with that I met at the bar. So now I immediately went from wanting people to make eye contact with me so I could spark up a conversation to wanting nobody to make eye contact with me. Because if somebody were to come up to me and kind of make small talk conversation and then asks me who I came with or who do I know here, I'd have no answer. It'd be like I'm some random guy just walked into someone's house and started hanging out like a creep. So I just wanted to find a corner and keep to myself until What's-Her-Face came back. So I kind of take a stutter step 2 feet away from the kitchen, and I turn around. As soon as I turn around, I see this dude walking towards me. I know he's coming up to talk to me. So this dude walks up to me, and he's like, hey, I'm Rick. This is my party. Nice to meet you. I saw that you came in with Becky. How do you know Becky? So at that point, I was relieved because I'm like, great. Now I know her name is Becky, and I can't forget it. So I'm starting to go through things in my head to try to remember her name, like, Wicky Wacky Becky, or who's got a nice necky? Becky. Don't judge me, that's how I remember shit. Anyway, so while I'm going through all that nonsense in my head to try to remember Becky's name, I realize that it's been a few seconds and I'm like staring off into space with a weird look on my face. Kind of like, when someone smells something kind of gross and they scrunch up their face and they're trying to figure out where it's coming from. That's basically the face that I had on at that moment while I was going through that stuff in my head. And as I realized it, without any time to recover, Rick was like, are you okay? And he had the look on his face that pretty much said, dude, did you just have a stroke? Now, here's a little gem that I'm going to share with you. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation where you just go totally blank, or you have a brain fart, or you find yourself in this kind of awkward situation, if you have some kind of long pause or something to that effect, and someone asks you if you're all right, or it just gets awkward or weird or a little embarrassing, the best way to recover out of it, just say, sorry, thought I had a sneeze coming on. Boom. Awkward moment avoided. You're welcome. Now that fire was put out, it actually got worse. So after that recovery, before I could even answer Rick's question on how I knew Becky, who do I see walking right up to us? My ex-girlfriend. Quick side note, it was a bad breakup due mostly to the fact that she was a raging bitch. So she walks up and goes, what are you doing here? And I'm not being an asshole, but that's how she speaks. So I try to be all slick, and I'm like, I'm here just hanging out with my buddy Rick. So she says, Rick's my new beef fry. And just a side note, in case you don't speak Jewish American princess, beef fry means boyfriend. So she turns to Rick and goes, how do you know him? And Rick goes, I don't. We met like 2 minutes ago. He's here with Becky. So now my ex gives me some kind of weird look. Like I interpreted it as some kind of like jealousy or confused look. It was hard to make out. Now for about 1 second, I felt pretty good because you never really want to bump into your ex while they're with someone and you're completely alone. The reason that I only say that I felt good for about 1 second was because at that very time, Becky pops up out of nowhere, stumbles over to me. Becky is shit-faced. So she stumbles over, puts her arm on my shoulder, kind of leans into me, and drunk whispers into my ear. And when I say drunk whispers, I basically mean like just whispers very loudly so everybody can hear. So it's really not much of a whisper. And she goes, we should get out of here. So again, I felt good for about 1 second because I have some girl telling me that we should get out of here while standing in front of my ex, which is usually a good thing. And again, I say felt good for 1 second because she then followed that up with, we should get out of here because I sharted. Now let's all just calm down. I know this upset my world a bit too. I'm a single guy. I've never really lived with a woman before, so they don't fart, right? And if they do, I'm pretty sure sprinkles and glitter comes out, right? That's how I see it. And I'm sticking to that until proved otherwise. So my world's been turned upside down on a few levels at this moment. And it doesn't stop here. So she says one more word that completely put everything over the edge. She goes, we should get out of here because I sharted again. Again? I'm like, again this week? Again tonight? Again, like, what do you mean again? What? And to make matters even worse, one step further, Rick says, you're disgusting. And Becky says, shut up, Rick. And then looks at me and says, sorry, my brother can really be a jerk sometimes. So in my head, I'm going, did you say brother? So at this point, I'm completely at a loss for words. So I'm standing in front of my ex-girlfriend, who's next to her new boyfriend, whose house we're in, who's having a party, quite lovely party, I might add, that I would enjoy under different circumstances. And his drunken mess sister is the girl who I picked up at the bar, who's hanging all over me right now being a sloppy mess, who sharted herself and made it publicly known. So now I'm also realizing that Becky's just that one in the group. You know what I mean? Like that drunken mess of a girl in the group. Hot mess. Good looking girl, but she just zero filter. NFG. Just completely sloppy and owns it. And that's the one that I picked up at the bar. Now I kind of understand why I thought my game was on point. And I'm also realizing that that look that my ex was giving me a little bit earlier, that I thought possibly was maybe a jealousy type thing, was more of a disgusting, like, ew, why would you be hanging out with Becky kind of a confused look. And oh my God, that's my boyfriend's sister. Kind of a scared, oh my God, if this works out, holidays are going to be awkward kind of a look. So my only option at this point was to excuse myself. I said I had to use the bathroom. I sat Becky's ass down on the couch, walked over to the bathroom, took a leak, and walked straight out the front door and left. And thinking back, I mean, when it comes down to it, who am I really to judge? Becky's probably a sweetheart when she's sober, but there was just way too many levels of disturbance there to stick around. In life, we have good nights and we have bad nights. That was an awkward one. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy your day. Take it easy.